Super Castlevania 4 is one of the best games in the whole franchise. This 2D platformer is the culmination of all of the 3 NES Castlevania games with some added upgrades thrown in for good measure. Before the series went the way of Metroidvania or the random God of War style 3D games, I still say this is the best. Fight me. Between the gameplay, the impressive graphics, the music, man, there is nothing better. So with me continuously gobbling up this game, naturally you'd think I'd attempt a Retro Achievement set. If you are unaware, RetroAchievements.org adds in achievements to emulated games and tracks them and other statistics on the website. If you like challenges, Retro Achievements is for you. Anyway, I checked out Super Castlevania 4 achievements and boy oh boy, I got myself into some deep trouble. Follow me as I go into the pain in detail. Super Castlevania 4 was released in 1991 by Konami. Essentially a remake of the first game, you control Simon Belmont. As part of your clan's eternal grudge against people with long teeth, you must make your way across multiple levels, whipping any monster you come across like they forgot to take the chicken out of the freezer. In every level you have candles that once you hit, drop goodies for your quest. You grab hearts, different sub-weapons, multipliers, and of course your favorite wall chicken to survive against the onslaught of enemies up to your favorite vampire Dracula. Simple story aside, Castlevania 4 is upgraded from the NES Castlevanias. For one, you're able to aim your whip in 8 directions, meaning you aren't limited in where you can attack and are free to deploy your whip more liberally. You can also climb stairs at any point on the steps, including jumping on them halfway. So while you are still limited with your committed jumping, you're given more ways to deal with obstacles. The game also expands the amount of levels and goes hard on the graphics, really pushing the new at the time Super Nintendo to its limits. This game has 36 achievements in total, with about 14 or so being based around progression. All of these achievements revolve around beating the bosses at the end of each level and getting the pulsating orbit drops. Accompanying those chivos are damageless achievements for each boss, meaning you must not lose any health at all during these fights, lest you have to start over. Each boss has its own issues that I will get into later, but let me tell you, some of these damageless can go die in a hole. Thankfully there's infinite continues, because if there wasn't, there would be a lot more rage and venom in the RA Forum comments. The other achievements are basic functions, found locations, and 2 playthrough chivos that may or may not cause you to break your controller. But let's go stage by stage and chivo through chivo. Stage 1. Also called the entrance, should look real familiar if you played the original Castlevania game on NES. Besides some skeletons and birds, your only obstacles are avoiding pits and going in and out of gate entrances to the background when you can't progress any further. Again, be sure not to fall in any pits. You can get one quick chivo here by holding your whip out and twirling in every direction, which will get you the Whip It Good achievement. Easy enough. You probably won't get it on this stage, but if you keep breaking candles and gathering hearts, eventually you'll get the Hearty Adventure achievement for having maxed out hearts. There's a point at the end of the game where you can get this instantly, so don't stress yourself out about gathering them, besides for sub-weapon use. The boss at the end of this level is named Rowdain, who's a skeleton knight riding a skeleton horse. Sick! Anyway, whip the horse's head and avoid his projectiles till the horse dies, then follow up on the main body while avoiding his javelin. He changes up his attack when he's at the brink of death, but by that point you can just slap him again for the win. No damage on this boss is pretty simple. Take your time and you'll be fine. Even faster if you have the cross sub-weapon and a multiplier, which could honestly be said about a lot of bosses in this game. Seriously, if you can get the cross fully upgraded, hang on to it. It's the best sub-weapon in the game by far, and any weapon that can give you multiple hits from a distance is the optimal way forward for most of the oppression that you'll face. If you can't get the cross, the holy water is a good secondary weapon, but seriously, cross. Anyway, a simple damage list to start out the pain train. Plus, this is the first level. If you don't get the achievement the first time around, you can restart the game fairly quickly if you grab the orb on accident. Stage 2 is the forest, another simple level that features a little more annoyances and sticky goo floor, but overall is pretty harmless. The boss here midway is Medusa, who will rush back and forth at you shooting a slow stone gaze that can easily be avoided by ducking. The only other issue is she will spawn snakes that can hit you quite easily if you let them go free. Not much of an issue for a regular run, but for the damageless achievement, you need to take out or dodge the snakes and get your shots in. If you are frozen by the stone gaze, you won't be able to free yourself until you get damaged. Either way, throw crosses like there's no tomorrow and follow up with whip hits and she'll go down before any trouble arises. Unlike most levels, there's still another part to finish, but besides annoying shifting water currents, you should be able to get through it no problem. Don't forget the extra life hidden behind the columns on the last screen of the level. Stage 3 is the caverns. This oddly beautiful level has 3 contrasting sections. First, the actual caverns, where you have to be wary of spikes and falling rocks, but overall, it is pretty simple to navigate. Note that there is an area where you can stock up on hearts and health if you need it, by destroying these blocks on the left side of the droppable section to a hidden area. The next section is an upward climb where you need to make precise jumps and swing on hooks to avoid falling through the bottom of the screen. Again, minimal issue. The last section is where I personally had the most problems, but for the dumbest reasons. It's another section with time-crumbling blocks, hooks, and most troubling, water. The water hides these demons who spit at you and can knock you backwards, which, if you're on the edge of a jumpable block, can send you tumbling to your doom. The amount of times I got caught by them and lost a life is embarrassing, but oh well. It's not like you have to go through this game deathless, right? Right? The bosses of this level are the Orphic Vipers, which actually should be called the Water Dragons, but whatever. If you hug the right side of the screen and avoid their projectiles while throwing your sub-weapon, they are no problem. With Damageless, you really just have to avoid both the smoke and fire, which again, if you stay on the right upper platform, you really only have to worry about the projectile fire breath, since the smoke breath can't reach you. With the whip, you really have to worry about being knocked off the middle platform and taking damage. But with the cross, you can easily take out both heads and move along. Stage 4 is the Death Tower. This fun little section has platforms that turn over when you jump on them, so avoid doing that unless you absolutely have to. Then jump immediately to safety to avoid falling. This level actually has 2 bosses to take care of. The midpoint boss is Puwexil, the giant red skull. This absolute menace can take a few hits, but in response, will hit you with his tongue or his falling nuts, guts. No, really, what is that? Beating him normally isn't too bad, but then the no damage Chivo becomes an absolute slog. It becomes a fight with RNG whether the falling whatever they are will hit you or not, but the most optimal strategy is to stay next to the lower platform to the left, and after whipping upward to destroy the projectiles, whip and cross the boss until he moves towards you, then back up if needed and repeat. Hopefully he goes down before another round of falling things, but be wary either way. The next section of this stage includes this cool but slow area where you're in a room surrounded by spikes, and you must hang off a hook till the room shifts. This is also another area where I died a lot, because once it stops spinning, Medusa heads will ambush you and possibly knock you into instant death. After you get past the motion sickness room with the falling floor, you'll find yourself in the last area with the moving blocks. This area requires some learning to not trap yourself in an instant death spike trap, but once you find the most optimal and quickest route, that's all you'll take. The second and final boss of this level is Koranot the Stone Golem, who is another boss with random blocks falling from the ceiling. Same tactic as the skull, though you'll need to avoid the blocks he throws as well. You get 2 constantly rising and falling platforms in this fight to help you get out of some tricky situations, but as long as you keep up the damage, it shouldn't be too much trouble. No damage is frustrating because on top of all of the falling projectiles, he will corner you rather easily, and with 1 touch or 1 falling block means you need to restart. Do not go into this challenge without your trusty cross, as trying to both put damage on the monster and avoid the falling blocks at the same time will frustrate you to TV smashing levels. Fortunately, if you hug the left side of the screen, he won't touch you, so you can continue breaking him apart until you win and get the achievement. Stage 5 is the castle entrance. This level is a few simple platforms with some extra candles to power up with. No bosses on the stage, so you get a bit of a break after the gruesome twosome on the previous stages. So progress onward. Stage 6 is the main hall. Oh, here comes the pain. The pain train is coming. This level reintroduces the axe knights that take multiple hits to take down. You also get the graphically impressive giant chandeliers that you climb that just so happen to have spots that you can fall through because of game jank. You can get the achievement Who Are You on the section after the giant chandeliers by breaking the 14th floor block from the stairs. If you need help locating it, it's the single block after the second falling chandelier. This leads to a sort of restock station where you can fill up on heart and health and get the sub-weapon of your choice. You'll want to remember this is here for no particular reason. Wink. The bosses of this level are the Dancing Spectres, this ghostly couple that will immediately blink in and out of existence, occasionally throwing out arrow projectiles and stabbing in a straight line. If you still have your cross, good. Just continue throwing out the sub-weapon and you can probably tank the few hits you'll take while you whip them continuously. For Damageless, however, you cannot do this obviously. Luckily, you can gauge their pattern and react accordingly. First, throw out your handy dandy cross and jump on the platform to the left, then the top, then jump over them. Then repeat on the right side, essentially making an 8 with Simon. If done right, you'll be able to avoid everything they throw at you and get the Damageless achievement easy peasy. If not, well, at least you can start over and try again. Stage 7 is the library, another fun one. Knights, and knights aplenty. Be careful when descending the staircase on the vertical section, as one errant hit from a floating book or flying skeleton monster will make you fall to your doom. Also beware the ceiling spikes. Some dickhead under the carpet will directly propel you into them, resulting in immediate death. The boss of this level is Sir Grakul, a giant armored knight. Fighting him normally is pretty simple. Just whip him and spam the cross, and if he happens to raise his axe, be prepared for him to throw it in a straight line or hit the ground and spawn fire that you need to dodge. Draining half his health will destroy his big axe, and he'll pull out his sword, making him faster but less dangerous in my opinion, as again, you can spam cross and defeat him before he does anything. Damageless is more difficult, but not the worst. The main issue with this boss is trying to determine if he's gonna throw his axe or do his fire spawn attack, as both require different ways to avoid. You can duck the axe, but have little room to respond to the fire, or you can jump on the left platform, giving you more time to avoid the fire, but putting you right in the line of sight of the axe attack. You could jump it again, but yeah, less response time. You might just need to get a little lucky with your prediction, but still, spam the cross and whips, and you should be good even when the axe is destroyed. Stage 8 is the Catacombs, and oh god, this level. Pure agony incarnate. Death spikes everywhere, annoying eyeball monsters, dropping swords. This level has it all. The Medusa heads also make a reappearance on the descending staircases, which is just great. I had an awful time with this level, just because it's so easy to die because of an errant hit or a moment of carelessness. And just when you think it can't get any worse, you come across what's affectionately known as the Vegas Bridge. This section right before the boss is a line of platforming chests that disappear at random intervals. The problem is, if you happen to fall, you die. This can be very frustrating and haphazardous to your stockpile of lives, but at least it wouldn't affect your whole playthrough, right? Right? The boss of this level is the monster, and oddly enough, he isn't too difficult. After spawning, he proceeds to throw various potions that each do different effects. The pink potion will spawn flames when it hits the ground that you can avoid by jumping. The white potion will spawn a copy of the monster when it hits the ground that you can destroy in a couple strong hits. The green potion will produce projectiles that will steadily spread out once it breaks in midair. The best thing for you to do is what you do for the rest of the bosses. Spam the cross and whip hits. For Deathless, if you want to make it even easier, you can hit the potions before they hit the floor and destroy them, and just spam your life away. Please note that the green potion can break before it hits the floor, so be wary of any errant projectiles headed your way. Stage 9 is the Treasury. This level is all gold everything. There's treasure everywhere, even the enemies are coated in gold. Your biggest worry for this stage are the gradually disappearing gold platforms that will fade away once you land on them. At first they aren't too annoying, but once they are over pits, you have to be really careful that you don't get caught up, especially when the stable ground has an enemy on it ready to greet you. You can get the achievement Nobody's Here on this stage after the section with the falling blocks that you need to climb to progress. Go up the stairs immediately afterwards and jump to the platform with the casket on it. If the cavern hole there is making noise and sucking up air, go into it and you'll reach another restock station that you should definitely remember. The boss of this level is the Treasure Bat, sort of like the Bat boss on the first level section of the NES Castlevania, but made of gold. Beware of attacking it, as every time it is struck, it drops treasure projectiles in multiple directions that you'll need to dodge. Every now and again, it'll charge down at you, so be ready to move away when it pauses. After a while, it will split into 3 separate smaller gold bats that drop gold projectiles downward, so be wary of that and take each of them out separately. Damage lists on this boss is a lot more complicated. Since every time you hit the boss it spawns damage dealing projectiles, your best bet is to stand directly under it so the projectiles don't come near you. Also, if you continuously whip upward at it, the previous projectiles will despawn before they hit the ground, and new ones will appear. When the bat breaks down, each still throws out projectiles when hit, while also adding the straight down attack, making the screen super chaotic if you're trying to dodge everything. You can try to continuously attack the bats with crosses and your whip to constantly respawn their attacks, but you have to be wary of them getting too close to you. Pick and choose your attacks wisely, and eventually you'll get it done. Congrats! This is one of the harder damage lists in the game. Stage A is the Clock Tower. Yeah, we're doing letters now. What are you gonna do about it? Cry? At least you get the remix Bloody Tears theme from Castlevania 2 to accompany you. The clock gears can be annoying to scale, mostly because you need to jump sooner than you think you need to prevent yourself from falling. This is especially important to avoid the spikes near the bigger gears. Be sure while riding the hooks upward, you allow yourself to swing to the sides to take out the enemies that litter the upper hallway before they physically knock you off. The boss of this level is Rowdain the Mummy. When he spawns on the left side of the screen, get as much damage as you can on him before he despawns. He tends to throw out either arcing mummy wrappings or fireballs that can be either destroyed or avoided when he appears, so be wary of that. He usually reappears on the center or right platforms, so stay near the left platform and he'll be no issue. Damageless isn't too much of a headache, just be aware of where he spawns after disappearing from the left side of the screen and keep your distance. Again, the cross and whip combo is undefeated. Keep your projectiles on screen and destroy his before it even gets near you. Stage B is the Castle Keep, and technically the final stage of the game. You get the vampire killer theme from Castlevania 1 to accompany you through the first part of this stage. Obstacles encountered including breaking platforms and the headless swordsman who can become a pain if you don't take care of them quickly. Don't be fooled by the candles on the Bat Bridge. Unless you are super precise with your actions, do not attempt to break them all. It's a trap. The next section you need to precisely climb falling steps while you have a giant spike wheel of death chasing you. The problem here is it is super easy to miss connecting on the steps and falling through to your death. It doesn't help when you have stone enemies slowing you down occasionally. I've died and got multiple game overs on this section due to how difficult this part is. And when you think it can't get any worse, now you have to time floating platforms so you don't headbutt some spikes. It's an absolute horror to deal with. Highly recommend getting the lay of the spike locations so you don't get surprised by them later. Now you get a boss rush. Don't worry, the checkpoints are generous here, coming right after each fight. The first boss is Slogra, this decayed looking bird with a spear. If you are lacking resources, there are a few candles before the fight that can help you. Slogra's first phase involves him dropping down from the ceiling and attempting to hit you until he turns orange with a straightforward projectile. When he does that, he'll become vulnerable to attacks. If you hit him, he launches to the ceiling and repeats. The second phase is the real issue. The spear breaks and he attempts to nose skewer you with his long-reaching attack randomly as he lands. This move actually takes out a good amount of health, so be sure to move away from him as he is falling. Damageless for this boss is a pain, as the second phase can be left up to chance whenever he does his attack, and either you need to be fast enough to react or far enough away that it doesn't hit you. Luckily for the first phase, you can continuously hit him so he never gets a chance to attack, since he becomes vulnerable quickly. Second phase, not so lucky. Thankfully, there's a checkpoint right before the boss battle, so you can come right back if you need to restart. The second boss is Gaibon, this dragon demon thing. He also has two phases. The first phase involved him flying in the air back and forth, either spraying projectiles or hitting the ground and causing ceiling spikes to come towards you. The second phase, he turns red and starts flying a little faster, but sprays projectiles towards you in a predictable wave. The second phase is pretty much easier than the first, and both really only require you to avoid being near him when he attacks, and throwing your cross in the air when you can. For Damageless, you need to stay near the edge of the screen on the floating platforms and alternate as he moves around. If you spray the top of the screen with crosses, he won't last long in this section. The second phase, you just need to stay put on one side while throwing crosses. If he stops to spray you, get out of the way from his vicinity. Compared to the other bosses, easy peasy really. The third boss is Death. Almost always a difficult boss in the Castlevania series, and at first, it looks just as daunting as some of the others. But actually, you can do this relatively painlessly. Death has two attack patterns. The first involves randomly moving around, shooting scythes directly at you, which can be destroyed when hit, so take advantage of that. The second phase will have Death occupy the right side of the screen, and suddenly will activate the powers of gravity, gradually forcing you towards him. While he does this, he also shoots out a large spinning scythe that arcs from top to bottom after making its way to the left and repeating once, before reverting back to the first attack pattern. As long as you walk away from him, gradually attack, and jump over the scythe, it's not too bad. For Damageless, you really need to be in tune with your precise whips and projectile throws on the little scythes, as they can be the run ender real quick. However, there's a cheese strategy that you can abuse. By holding the whip upward while on the left side of the screen next to the bottom floating platform while he's on his first phase, all of the projectiles will get hit before damaging you. This only leaves his gravity phase as an issue, which once you get the timing for, will get you both achievements. The fourth and final boss is Dracula himself. This boss fight will test your patience not only because it has multiple phases, but the accompanying achievements are heinous. Beating standard Dracula gets the achievement Vampire Killer. Before you start though, there's another achievement you can get. To get floating, at the bottom of the staircase, jump into the void. You'll land on an invisible platform. Take the invisible stairs down, and at the left side of the screen, you'll be given 99 hearts, which will also give you the Hearty Adventure achievement if you don't have it already. The cross, meat if you are damaged, and the 3 times multiplier. This power up will be there after every death, so be sure to stock up before every attempt at taking down Dracula. In the first phase, Dracula will disappear and teleport while throwing fireballs, similar to the NES game. You can either hit the projectile where it will turn into 4 smaller ones going in a straight line, or jump over it and risk getting hit when it suddenly shoots upward at you. It can be super annoying to whip the fire and get hit immediately after, but still, get used to jumping over the 4 smaller projectiles or holding out your whip to destroy them. In the meantime, don't forget to continuously throw crosses at his head, which is the only part of him you can damage. After a certain amount of damage, Dracula will throw out a small orb that is a bitch to avoid. The ball's pattern is random, and it has a chance to fly off screen if you avoid it for enough time. If you choose to hit it, it will shoot projectiles in every direction that can be avoided if you're far enough away to dip in between them or use the whip to hit all the shots coming near you. Either way, it will also drop chicken to heal yourself just in case. Next phase, Dracula will teleport and spawn 2 fire pillars that also spawn demons that will need to be hit to stop it coming after you. When you hit the demons, they turn into additional fire pillars that you need to be wary of. Dracula will only spawn 2 pillars at a time, so take advantage of that. After getting hit some more, Dracula will throw another orb that again you can avoid or hit for some healing if needed. The final phase will have Dracula teleporting and spawn lightning, to which he has a nasty habit of either spawning on you or hitting you before you notice. Outlast this, and congratulations, you get the achievement for beating him. If you are savvy and good at video games, you can get the 2 other achievements here, which includes beating Dracula damageless. Luckily enough, if you get hit, you spawn right at the bottom of the stairs for another attempt. Beating Dracula damageless gets you the achievement Bloody Tears, and really just takes learning his patterns, but even then you're at the mercy of RNG of him spawning on you, or both the fire and lightning that he spawns during the different phases, catching you unprepared. The worst case of frustration can come from the orb that spawns twice after each phase. It's random where it goes, and even worse, trying to get it to despawn off screen is just as random. Hitting it and avoiding damage is its own demon, but with the crosses, this challenge isn't the end of the world. The actual end of the world is the last achievement, Parable with Sunshine. Here, you'll need to beat Dracula without taking damage, without using a sub-weapon, and not pausing. Now you don't even have to cross to defend yourself and put in extra damage, and you can't pause to compose yourself at all. This is the worst of all the boss fight achievements because you have to be perfect with your jumps and whips. Anything extra, and you get damaged and have to start over. You pretty much have to rely on whipping all of the extra projectiles and be hopeful that nothing clips you. By the time you get to this achievement, however, you should be extra experienced in this boss fight. All this takes is tons of throwing yourself at it and maybe a little bit of luck. Get past this and congratulations, you are the scourge of Dracula and all of his terrible minions.
Ooh, let's go! Ha ha ha!
You're almost done with this set, thank God, but the hardest isn't even here yet, oh no. After you beat the game, in classic Castlevania tradition, you immediately start on second quest, which brings up the achievement Dracula's Death, which requires you to beat the second quest without using a continue. The second quest changes up where some of the monsters spawn and makes the game even more difficult than it was originally. However, you're given 2 concessions. If you're coming directly from the first quest, you keep the lives that you had then. As long as you haven't been sucking, because of points and pickups, you should have received multiple extra lives. If you want to start directly on the second quest, the achievement allows you to use a password to start at stage 1. Other than that, it's another round of demons to struggle through. Very difficult, but not the hardest. The actual hardest achievement in this set is Centuries Old Knowledge, which is a bulky 100 points. Your only requirement? Beat the game without losing a life. This can be done either in the first or second quest, but what absolute sadist would want to do it on the second quest? Do it on the first. You absolutely need to practice the game over and over again to know the layout of each level, and know where each of the healing wall chickens are, and absolutely hold on to the damn cross. All of it. This game is daunting on its own. Doing it knowing you have to be eternally careful, cause one slip up and you end up back at the beginning of the game, is an entirely new new level of demoralizing. The bosses, yeah, once you get used to their patterns, can be pushovers, as long as you don't lose most of your health through the level. But the levels themselves, oh my god. The times that you accidentally fall in a pit or die because of chip damage from projectiles or that goddamn Vegas bridge is numerous. The majority of the playtime doing the set was trying to beat this game deathless, and I am not joking. I have the streams archived to prove it. P.S. Follow my second channel. There's been so many times that I get a good run and something happens, whether that be losing the cross and dying to attrition, falling a pixel short of a jump, or again, that goddamn Vegas bridge. The absolute worst was actually making it to the end and dying during stage B at the gear chasing you and falling through the stairs, or Slogger of randomly launching his ass through your dreams, or getting to Dracula and choking at the worst moment. It's bad. Like, this might be the absolute worst Chivo I've ever done on RetroAchievements. I've gone through so much grief attempting to get this done, and I'm not the only one. Look in the comments of the achievement. It's all bad, but all you need is one time to get through. You make it past all the obstacles, you breeze past every boss, you finally got through Dracula and you accomplished the hardest of the set. Chances are this is probably your last achievement, and if so, you badged an absolute demon of a set. Where's the pop? Pop? Hang on. Let's go! Let's go! Yes! Let's go! Super Castlevania 4 is still one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo, but holy hell, this set is brutal. Getting all of the boss achievements are hard, but they don't have shit on centuries old knowledge. This achievement has prevented many people from badging this game, and I warn you greatly about undertaking this challenge. The rest of the set can be fun to figure out, but doing the game deathless? Ungodly. If you love this game as much as I do and want to take on the ultimate challenge, throw yourself in as much as possible. Hey, thank you for checking out the video. If you like what you see, you should subscribe. You can also find me playing these sets live on Twitch and on RetroAchievement.org at Sleepyhead Dre. Thank you, and hope to see you soon.